The dark sides of living in England. Beneath the surface of England's picturesque landscapes and historic landmarks lies a world shrouded in mystery, intrigue, and darkness. From unsolved crimes and haunted castles to the secrets buried deep within its ancient walls, England has a dark side that few dare to explore. Join us as we delve into the shadowy corners of this storied nation and uncover the chilling tales that history would rather forget. There are dark sides of living in England that you need to consider closely. When people arrive in England in search of a greener pasture, they're rudely shocked by those dark sides. Today, I'm going to show you some of them. They're actually among the reasons why foreigners who intend to live in England don't stay. I need to quickly tell you this. 1. The cost of living is high. There's no arguing this point, especially if you're living in London and other high-end cities in England. What you spend mostly on accommodation is a dark side of living in England. Rent is astronomically huge. Even outside those cities, rent generally gulps a large chunk of your earning. Compared to the cost of living elsewhere in Europe, you're made to feel you're in the UK to work simply to get a place to lay your head. 2. The weather is unstable. If you have to plan your days and weeks based on weather forecasts, think twice before you start to live in England. The weather is pretty unstable. It rains a lot in England. For some people, it's not a problem, especially those who were born and bred in the UK. For those who move in from other countries, the weather is something else. You can't rely on it. However, as you advance southwards, you find that you get less rain and it usually gets warmer. Even then, when you're going out, please don't forget your brolly, is the popular saying. Well, this is the dark side of living in England. 3. Binge drinking. England drink a lot if they can afford it, and almost everyone can afford to binge. There's a dangerous culture among university students called pre-drink. This means they drink a lot of alcohol before they go out partying. This doesn't prevent them from taking more drinks at those parties, but the basic idea is that they drink to the point of getting drunk so that they'll have a front for not drinking a lot more when they get there. They have to drink such that it will be obvious that they're drunk. That takes off the pressure to pay for more expensive drinks at their party. For other people, this might even be a pro rather than a con, an invitation to go to the UK. Let's go there and drink. It may also be excused that those binge drinkers are preserving the British driftingness tradition while partying nicely. But this is not limited to youths. Adults do it too. Imagine going on a lunch break and having a beer or two. The drinking culture here is quite permissive, but it's not going to be a dark side for the alcoholics. 5. Salaries are poor. How much would you consider an ideal salary? It depends on where you work vis-a-vis where you live, and we aren't dealing with figures now. Oh no, not today. But why are most people using cheap and small cars? The fact is that most people living in England struggle to survive. The dark side of living in that country is that the salary is too poor to make you rich. 6. England fruits are unseasoned. Not everyone will agree with this, but it is to many a dark side of living in England. If you have a background similar to mine, you would see England fruits as bland. You may be surprised that some people don't add salt to their rice or noodles. Some people consider those foods underseasoned, while it's cool for some. But there are many good restaurants where foods are adequately spiced, and there are places where you can eat continental foods. 7. People are very reserved. That's the English heritage. People are polite and are naturally reserved. Each one makes conscious efforts to avoid offending the next person. That politeness makes them avoid meddling in other people's affairs. However, what is considered meddlesomeness might actually lead to boredom for many. This is a dark side of living in England. Imagine your neighbor not caring about how you're doing and not being available to help in case of an emergency. This can make living in England so boring, less social. 8. It's difficult to find friends in England. Consequent to the point just mentioned, you'll find it difficult to make friends in England. It'll take a while. Remember, these people are reserved and over-polite. It's difficult to develop relationships and to deepen the existing ones. The dark side of living in England, if you're not a citizen, is that people don't easily open their hearts to strangers. It's a culture shock to many from places where people love to engage strangers in conversation straight away. People may be nice at first and talk to you for the first few seconds or so. After the small talk for a couple of minutes, they start to turn away, as if they're telling you, "Hey, it's time to go. I've had enough of this conversation." We can't build a relationship easily, so if you just come as an expat or a student, you should be prepared for that dark side. 9. Houses are very small. If you're used to living in a semi-detached duplex, or a house with a palatial living room and bedrooms with big beds and more space, hey, you aren't going to get that in England. The houses are too small. People generally don't live in big houses. This is the dark side of living in Great England. Small houses automatically get small entrances, leading to rooms which should automatically have small doors. You'd better cut down on your weight, as you can't live comfortably in those small rooms in England if you're big. You'll love this nevertheless. The smaller the rooms, the cheaper it is to heat them. 10. Roads are small. I wonder why anyone would be surprised upon entering a room in England and realizing that those rooms are small. Haven't you passed through roads before getting to the small houses and rooms? How wide are the roads? There you are. Roads are just too small in England, and that is another dark side. That's why you can't automatically get a driver's license in England no matter how long you've been driving in your country. It's not just because you drive from the left. You also have to learn to drive on narrower roads. They are comparatively smaller than roads in other parts of Europe. 11. Car insurance is very expensive. That's how it works in the UK. You cannot drive a car in England if you're not insured. You insure not just the car, but also the driver of the car. You know what that means? You don't have a car, and you have to use your friend's car as a licensed driver. You've also got to ensure that your driving insurance is still valid. Otherwise, you have to buy insurance even if you are using the car for just 2 days. 12. You need a license to watch TV. It may piss you off to have to pay for what they call the TV license to watch the TV you bought with your hard-earned money. Yes, unlike what obtains in some other countries where you get a few channels, you can get a whole range of TV channels in England. But if you watch your TV without buying a license, you're watching it illegally. 13. Inequality. As much as the government of the UK is talking about leveling up, inequality is still everywhere in England, and this is the dark side of living in the UK. The income inequality level is very high compared to other developed countries. It's also there in access to healthcare, even though it's better than what obtains in many other countries. There are other dark sides that other people will consider good sides. The shadows of England's past continue to linger, a reminder that even the most beautiful places can hold secrets, stories, and mysteries waiting to be uncovered. As we close this chapter on the dark side of England, remember, history is never just black and white. There's always more than meets the eye. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay with us as we explore more hidden corners of the world. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious and stay safe.